Okay, awesome. Cafe, bakery, orchard, retail, or wholesale, or both. Okay, awesome. And who else?
You're going.
We're going.
You can keep doing what you were doing. I just started
Okay.
for you.
So we are, so come on in, grab a seat. We've got seats over here, over there. Anywhere is fine. All right, if you guys, what we've been doing is if you could just take a sheet of paper out of your notepad and just make a little table tent, first name and what's your business? You don't, not your business name, but what is it you do? Oh, I'm coaching, I'm this, okay. Just so I have an idea. We are going to, so let me give you a little background on this presentation, okay? So I started out as a coach in 1991. All right. So I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, walked on fire, got all pumped up about helping people out. And then I said, I want to be a coach. So I studied NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, disc theory, axiology, every coaching methodology you can imagine. And I started doing coaching right out of the chute. Now, if you told somebody you were a coach in 1991, they would say, wow, that's really great. What sport? You know? Cool. What team? Well, like where it's, and I said, well, no. I'm like your personal trainer for your goals. And they would say, if I could get them to stop laughing long enough, then I would explain what a professional coach actually does. The industry just was not what it is back then. It just, which is great. It's matured. Everyone knows what a coach does, and that's excellent. And so I was starting to get assigned clients. I was doing coaching for Tony Robbins and Stephen Covey and Ken Blanchard and the Dale Carnegie system, you name it. And people, but there were no real systems. There were the home study course, there was the manual, but there wasn't the how-to back then the way it exists today. And I remember I'm getting assigned clients, and I'm starting to work with people, and I wanted to figure out how can I make more of an impact with them, and how can I show value? Because they were like, hey, how long have you been a coach? I'm like, what time is it? 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours, but I wanted to be able to, how do I show impact right away? And here's one of the things that I found. What I found and what I've learned over the years is that people are not very coachable in their strength areas.
So true.
Not very coachable at all. Like if I sat here with Alan, I said, Alan, I'm going to teach you how to do IT solutions better. Alan would be gone so fast. He'd be like, oh, that's really good. Thank you. And I don't need to be here because you're going to waste my time. And I would be wasting his time because it is his strength area. And not that he couldn't learn something new, but the likelihood that I'm going to transform how he does his IT services is probably very low. Here's where Alan's very coachable, in his blind spot. In his blind spot area, it won't take me very long before I can help establish where there is hidden value in his business, how to uncover it. And it takes me 2 questions. I can profile 95% of the population pretty accurately. And once I know those, is a good idea, good chance I know how to find the blind spot in your business. And our experience has shown that 10 to 30% growth is sitting in the blind spot area of your business right now. And if I can help you uncover that, and there's a lot of value there, you can tap into that. You don't have to do anything new. Don't have to hire anybody new. You don't have to invest in any new equipment. If we can establish the blind spot area, we can tap into it immediately. Okay, that sound good? All right, that's where we're headed today. We're going to find out where the blind spot area is. And so when we train coaches, we say to coaches that we're going to take you from 0 to brilliant in 4 questions, right? 0 to brilliant in 4 questions. So if you're a manager or you have your team, you're going to go from 0 to brilliant or 0 to cool, however you want to call it, with your team, because you're going to start coaching, managing, leading. And when you're selling your products and services to your clients and your prospects, you're going to sell into their blind spot. They have no defense. 0 defense there, because they have no clue what they're talking about. They don't know what you're talking about. As a matter of fact, when you start asking them the questions, they're going to say, in their mind, they're going to be like, I don't know the answer to that, but based on that question, I'm thinking I probably should know the answer to that. That's probably something I should have known, shouldn't I have? So I'll say something like, oh yeah, I was just looking into that. So I will be, researching that as soon as our call is over. And meanwhile, they're like, what the hell does that mean? Oh yeah. Thank God bless Wikipedia and thesaurus.com and everything else, because you're going to throw out some stuff. They're going to be like, yeah. Buyer, what did Mike say? Buyer's defense. Half of you are like, the hell is he talking about? Buyer's defense, and you were looking it up like I don't know. So now you're all ears. If you spent 45 minutes on buyer's remorse, you would have been like, because you know that one already, but it hit you with something that's in your blind spot area. So now all of a sudden you're coachable. We're going to make our clients very, very coachable, because we're going straight for their blind spot when we sell. And we're going to go straight for your blind spot in your business right now, because there's a lot of value sitting right there and a lot of growth. Okay. So in front of you, you have the slides, and I'm not going to go through each one of them. There's some there that are reference. Okay, reference material. And but I'm going to bounce around a bit. And my goal is that you're going to walk out of here with a plan. We are going to do the full-on obnoxious offer. So I'm going to show you how to build an obnoxious offer, which has a lot of implications. It's not just how you sell, but it's also operationally, it will have a lot of implications. But I forgot one thing. I apologize. We haven't formally started, because we can't formally start until we do one thing. Now, you guys look smart. You look well-dressed. You actually look somewhat perky. But we can't start until we have an energy level of 10 or above. And Beth, what would you say is the energy level of the room right now on a scale of 1 to 10? Maybe a 5? I always listen to the accountant, right? Because they're like, no, Carl, it's a 5. I saw the thermometer and I bought one last night, the energy thermometer. All right. So all of you optimists. So we have a 5 on the table. Where's the energy level? A 7 at least. Okay. All right. I like it. She upsells almost 25% right from the get-go. I like that. That's the way to think about it. All right. But we agree it's not a 10. All right. We agree. We don't agree? It's not a 10. We agree it's not. Cool. So now, because in order to really take this in, we've got to be as sexy as possible. Turn to your neighbor, give them a high five. Wait, hey, you learned nothing from yesterday. Wait for it. Give them a high five and say, you are about to find your untapped potential. And I find that quite sexy. Go get them. Hit them up. All right. That's how we play. That's how we play in the salon, right? In the salon, we have a higher standard here in the salon. Okay, so let's roll. What I'm going to do is one of the things I learned very, very early on is that the personality of a business will mirror the personality of its owner. Okay. One of the very first things I learned in coaching, because we used to administer a DISC assessment, we would work with them on their strengths and their blind spots individually, and then we would ask them about their business. And wouldn't you know that the strengths and blind spots of the business mirrored the strengths and blind spots of the individual? Like, I wish I didn't hear that today, Carl. And yes, that's what happens. And so we have to figure out what are the strengths and blind spots that you may have personally, because you're transposing them likely onto your business. So if we think that's a reasonable assumption, let's test it out. If we have an organized owner, what kind of business do we likely have? Organized, very good, very good. You're getting on quick. If we have a schizophrenic owner, we have what kind of business? Yeah, you got it. So you get how this works. Now, what we want to do is we want to figure out how this works. So what I did was, early on in the game, I had to figure out how am I going to show impact to, I was working with, when I was working with Tony Robbins, I worked with remember Justin from American Idol? I worked with him on the very first American Idol, Olympic athletes, people, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And they were like, Carl, can't wait for all the things I'm going to learn from you. And I was like, I was about to say the same thing, and so I had to find a way to make impact right away. And so what I did was I wrote an assessment as if your business were a person. Okay. So I wrote a DISC assessment for businesses, and we're going to overlay one on top of the other. And then one of the reasons why I asked you to put a table tent with what you do is there's an industry categorization for you, and your industry has a blind spot, and we want to use that against the competition to our benefit. Does that make sense? Nice try. Nice try. All right. Yeah. See. Wannabes. They're not in the salon. Lock the door. You can't come in no matter how loud. Yeah.
Open the door so we'd hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Nice try. All right. Okay. A little jealous. So for those of you that know what your assessment is, basically most assessments came from the same place. About 100 years ago, there were two psychologists that were writing a paper on, one was writing a paper on the emotions of normal people, one on the emotions of abnormal people. William Moulton Marston wrote the thesis that became DISC, and Carl Jung wrote the thesis that became Myers-Briggs. All right. So a lot of this research kind of came from the same place. So if you're a letter or a color or an animal or a type of dog or an astrological symbol or a piece of farm equipment, I mean, there's, if it's one of the four, probably came from the same place. All right. So you don't need to be any expert in assessments, but and I'm not going to go through each of, there's some slides about the individual side. I'm not going to go into those, but what I did was I broke your quadrant into 4 personality traits. Okay. The first so we have your direction, your income, your systems, and your controls. So I'm going to walk you through that so you can see what that's all about. So direction is, think of it in terms of big picture thinking, but also getting things done. It's the results quadrant. We get stuff done here. Okay, we're bottom line, results focused. Don't tell me about the process. I just want the bottom line result. Okay, I don't care how you get there, just get there. The next quadrant is income, the green one. Okay, income is not the accounting term. It's all the things that come into your business in the form of sales and lead generation. Okay, all right. The yellow quadrant, systems, is for all things operations and also your team. Okay. And your systems, we're going to break into core operations and non-core operations, because many of you are trying to automate and scale the wrong parts of your business. Okay. We work with businesses of all sizes. And believe me, this is a mistake everyone's making. You're like, I'm going to automate lead gen. I'm going to turn this into a machine so I never have to do it. Not the way your business is built. It's not the way business works. Period. There is an effective side to your business. There is an efficient side to your business. We have to know the difference between the two. Okay. We'll dive into that in a little bit more depth. But here, this is the scalable part of your company. This and only this. And we don't try to scale the other parts because you can't throw enough money or people or technology at it to scale it. Okay. And then we have our controls, which are all the checks and balances that make sure we get it right the first time and we keep the maximum we earn. All right. So Mike talked a little bit about being different earlier, right? I talked about yesterday being that penguin, and we're going to do our obnoxious offer where we're going to make the promise no one else in the niche has the guts to make. That's this quadrant. Okay. That's our intellectual property. We are going to take what you do that is not on you. It's called an off balance sheet asset. We're going to the stuff you do every day, and we're going to productize it. We're going to programize it, and we're also going to protect it whenever possible. You are not going to do anything unless it's a program or a product or a way of doing things. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. We want to build assets because remember this as we go through this presentation. You are not going to differentiate on what you do. There is nobody here with a table tent that's got such a unique business like, oh, really? Bookkeeping? Never heard of that. Oh, you forgive loans? Ha! Crazy. No, that doesn't exist. Everyone does it. And as a matter of fact, there's other people that do it in other parts of the world better and cheaper. You're not going to win on that game. There's a book book was written about Starbucks, really good book called The Starbucks Experience. And in the opening part of the book, they say, we recognize we're not in the coffee business. We can't. Oh, sorry. The book was called It's Not About the Bean. Sorry. There are 2 books, very good. One book is called The Starbucks Experience. Highly recommend it. Really good book. And second one is It's Not About the Bean. The opening part of the book, they say, listen, we recognize we're not in the coffee business. We can't win that game. What you do is a commodity. That's the good news. All right. Where you separate is on the how and on the why. All right. We're going to do a little innovation, a workshop where you're going to answer those 2 questions. You will win the game with your employees and with your customers on how you do what you do and why you do what you do. Okay. I love Uber. I love the fascination with Uber. I use Uber all the time. Lyft, I would say, goes in the same bucket. Wings is another one that's coming out. All right. And but I love the fascination. They win on the how game. They took decades old dispatch technology that's been around in the taxi world forever, and they did 2 things. They married it to Google Maps, and then they put it on your phone. That's it. Stuff's been around forever. But now we're like, wow, Uber, coolest thing on the planet. Right? Getting a taxi has been around forever, right? That's a commodity. But how they do it, everyone's like, wicked. And I knew Uber won the game. I travel a lot, so I'm in an airport. People will wait longer for an Uber than the taxi that's sitting there. You could, and how many of you have done this? Because I know I have. You've walked up to the taxi stand and you say, awkward, I know. Where do I get my Uber? And they'll be like, over there, and you'll be like, so sorry. And then you'll walk over and get your Uber. I've done it. How many of you have done it? Like, I'm so sorry to bother you, but where do I catch my Uber? And you'll get directions from the taxi stand. That's when I knew Uber was going to win the game. Okay. And then there's the why. How many of you have heard of Bombas socks? Bombas socks. Buy a pair of our socks. We'll give you a pair. Tom's shoes. Buy a pair of our shoes. So they're winning. So shoes and socks, brand new. Never heard of those before, right? Shoes are shoes. But their why is so strong. Bombas socks has sold 8 million pairs of socks. Tom's shoes did an AT&T commercial they couldn't afford. AT&T is like, listen, we just want to feature you guys. You know, we're not asking you to pay for it. They did a national campaign around Tom's shoes. Oh, yeah, but you got to use the phones. Okay, we'll use them. All right. So you win on the how and you win on the why. All of your margin is here. On the what, you're not going to win. All right. There's too many people doing what you do. But you can win on the how and the why. All right. And that's where we want to differentiate. Okay. And that's when we get to the C quadrant, we're going to do that. All right. Now, here we want to know the relationship between the quadrants. It's a really cool party trick to say, oh, that's a red and that's a red. Okay. But the real trick is understanding the relationship between the quadrants. There is a natural and adversarial relationship between diagonal opposite quadrants. There is a natural and adversarial relationship between diagonal opposite quadrants. How many of you have ever heard the expression opposites attract? You hear that one before? It's a total myth. Opposites do not attract. You did not go to some function, meet somebody, disagree on everything, and then go home and say, folks, I met the one. They were a total irritant. I couldn't stand them. We disagreed on everything. Can't wait for you to meet them. That didn't happen. You built the relationship on the things you had in common. Right. So what happened though was if you fell for the trick, there's only 2 things you can do when you meet your opposite. First thing you can do in business is you make them your partner. Okay. Now, the mistake you make oftentimes when you pick a partner is you will pick your partner based on their enjoyment of the task, not their competence in the task. Make sure that they have the technical expertise as well as the passion for it. Just because they like it doesn't make them good at it. Okay? Now, in life, when we meet our opposite, we marry them. I'll move on. Okay. All right? Okay. Like, no! I'm calling the whole thing off. Why? Because you're the opposite quadrant, dude. You were doing so well till then. All right. So growth and maximizing assets sometimes bumps heads with systems and personnel. Sales and marketing sometimes bumps in with, admin and finance. I mean, for nobody in this room, but I'm sure you've heard in other companies that can be an issue. All right. So in other words, the results people struggle with the process, the systems, and the personnel people. The relationship people struggle with the detail people. Same thing in your business. All right. And that's where the hidden value is. As a matter of fact, there's a little formula. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but I can show you a little formula where I can prove to you how much money I can steal from you and you would never notice. As a matter of fact, I could tell you I'm stealing and you wouldn't even ask. Because if I do it the right way, you wouldn't even look. Okay? Because there's a point where you're so blind, you wouldn't even, you'd be like, like, you know, when somebody actually, you guys see that movie, The Mule? Anyone see The Mule? At the very end, he actually admits to being, can we say it? He admits to what he does for a living. And they're like, you don't do that. And they laughed at him. And he's like, yeah. And then he couldn't even convince them when he told them what he was doing. It was so far-fetched that they were like, no way. Same thing. I could tell you, I'm like, yeah, here's as much money I just took from you. You'd be like, oh, Carl, you kidder. And you wouldn't even check. All right. So maybe if we get to that, I'll do it. All right. But the idea here is we want to understand the diagonal opposite quadrant. Okay. So I'm going to move. So I'm going to give you what is called the industry discovery. I'm going to put you guys in categories now so we can understand where this goes. So go to the slide that says industry discovery. Am I going? I know I'm going fast. Am I okay with the pace? You guys okay? All right. Pardon me? I'm on page 4. Thank you. And that's exactly where yes, page 4. All right. Now, in our model, there are 3 industry types and there is 1 company type. There's a D classification, right? These are disruptive, pioneering, groundbreaking companies that changed the way we live. Okay. And then there's 3 industry types. There's the DNA of these industries are specific. And what we want to do is we want to capture where you are. What we want to know is what category you're in. And then that'll tell us where to go first to look for impact in your business. Okay. All right. So a pioneering company, I've got a few examples up here. These are not, I would not put all these names on the list now. But they're just names you recognize, so it's just easier for me to explain them. These are companies that at one point changed the way we live, okay? So Apple and Microsoft, I wouldn't put them on there now, but they certainly changed the way we live when they came out, right? BP is British Petroleum, but really I could put ExxonMobil, any energy company up there. Facebook, Twitter, Google, FOMOCO is the industry nickname for Ford Motor Company. I wouldn't put them on there now, but they gave us the suburbs, right? There were the farms, there were the cities. The mass-produced automobile gave us the suburbs, okay? And their dealership model gave us the blueprint for franchising. And they also did the mass-produced, assembly line. So they were certainly very, very pioneering. Walmart, not now, but certainly when they started. Netflix, Zappos, Uber, and Amazon, okay? Okay with that? All right, now we're going to get into industry categories. So any category, any business that falls in the I quadrant, this is basically the DNA of this. The DNA of this type of business is a customer-facing sales and marketing company. I don't care what your product is. You are at the end of the day a sales and marketing company. Okay, so mortgage brokers, real estate brokers, advertising, the media, marketing agencies, financial advisors. Financial advisors, really? Yeah, they don't create the stocks, right? All they do is a needs analysis. What's your risk tolerance? What what age are you now? Where do you need to be? Okay, doesn't that sound like a sales presentation? Okay, it's not good or bad. It's not a judgment on it, but they don't service it. They are just the relationship builder. They bring the person in, they sell them the product, and the bank or the financial institution services the whole thing. You fill out the paperwork. They're not even authorized to sell you the stock. It's got to go to a clearinghouse, right? So they're like, forgive me for any of you that do this, it's like a car sale, an auto sale. A car salesman is not even authorized to sell you the car. Did you guys know that? If you went in with a full price offer and said, I'll take it, I don't know, no negotiation, here's cash, they would say, okay, I've got to go get approval. And they'll take it to their business manager, right? Which is cool. It's just good to know what the DNA of your industry is, okay? So financial advisors, MLM, multi-level marketing or network marketing, sales organizations, auto dealerships, social media, publishing, staffing companies. And then you may or may not be able to tell, but retail and restaurants are in italics, okay? Because we actually have them in 2 quadrants, because retail and restaurants have are unique in that they have two totally disparate companies under the same roof that rarely intersect. You are running two companies. If you want to test this out, take all the people that work behind the scenes at Home Depot, put them on the sales floor. Take all the people walking the floor, put them in the back in logistics. See how that goes. That's not, and you don't even attempt to cross-train those folks. Those are two different businesses. You have a logistics company and a manufacturing company, and you have a sales organization under the same roof. So those two are slightly unique. So we put them in our model. We treat them like two businesses. Okay, and then in the S quadrant we have what's called systemic. Systemic isn't just, oh, I like systems. Systemic means I need to know every part of the process before I take the first step. It all has to be built out. I can't throw up software and just say, well, click, and then depending on how many people click, I'll then do the next thing. All right, you've got to have that built out. All right, you can't say, well, we'll get you in the plane. We're not sure how we're going to land, but they're paving the strip as we speak. You know, can't do that. Got to have the whole system in place. Now, we love this quadrant and we love this part of your business. This is the quadrant and the part of your business of scale. This is the part that you can scale. You can't scale any other part. That's the part. Okay? You can scale your systems. Think about it. Any sports fans? Right? You can't scale LeBron James. There's only one. Can't scale Michael Jordan. You can't scale, pick your favorite athlete, pick your favorite. What's that? Oh, Pat Mahomes. You can't scale that person. But what you can do is build a stadium and have a league where people like Pat Mahomes can come and demonstrate their athleticism and their abilities. Right? The league is scalable. The people aren't. If that was the case, then if you could just scale them up, that's what we would do, is everyone would have a great team. But you wonder why these teams go up and down, because you can't scale the people, right? Okay, but we could scale the system. So manufacturing, distribution, the military, the airlines, government, bookkeeping, not accounting, bookkeeping, okay, emergency services, law enforcement, education, transportation, medical care, retail, restaurants, and construction. And then in the last quadrant is the quadrant of the consultant or the subject matter expert, where you must be the smartest person in the room in order to maximize this. You're the go-to person. That's why bookkeeping is down here, but accounting is up there. Okay? So here's the difference. The S quadrant, these businesses and the people in it are willing to do the wrong thing right, rather than do the right thing and be accused of being wrong. You want me to do that again? Yes. In the S quadrant, these businesses will do the wrong thing right, as opposed to doing the right thing and be accused of being wrong. All right? Find any teacher you want in any public school and ask them, do you have the most cutting edge learning tools to grow the leaders of tomorrow? What would they likely say? Nope. So what's your follow-up question? Well, throw it out and just get your own stuff. How many teachers probably do that? Yeah, none, because they would lose their jobs. So they do the best with what they have. They will take the, in quotes, wrong materials and try to do the right as best as they can with that, right? I took a perfectly functioning, beautiful plane here. That was only 1/3 full, okay? Why in the world did the right thing to do would have been, hey, everybody gather around. There's only like 10 of you on this plane. I'm not sending our plane so we can lose $50,000 today. Not doing that. Here's what I am going to do. I'm going to send you on a competing airline, but I am going to so take care of you while I got you. So I'm going to spend $1,000 on each one of you. I'm going to get you all massages, mani-pedis, you name it. You're going to eat 5-star here. You're going to eat 5-star there. I'm going to you're going to San Antonio. Wonderful. Fantastic. I'm going to take care of you 5-star the whole ride. You're going to love me for it. That would actually be the right thing to do. But I am not sending my plane up so we can lose $30,000. When was the last time that happened to you? Yeah, like never. And it's never going to happen, because that person would have to explain why. Well, we have another plane over there. Come on, I just saved us 30 grand. Isn't that the right thing to do? Now, it probably would have been, but there's no chance they're going to do it. No, what are we going to do? We're upgrading you, everybody in the front of the plane. You look in the back, they could cut the second half of the plane off. They actually didn't need it because it was empty. You know, like we look back, we're like, hey, well, what's going on over there? Are we picking up people on the way? Right? But there's no chance. This group will do the wrong thing right. In other words, it's all about the process. Right? Policy and process. You can illustrate it with postal mail versus postal mail, email. So all jokes about the post office to the side. If I were to send you a letter, Leah, and I misspelt your first name and I put the E and the A reverse, would you still likely get the letter? They'll send a misaddressed envelope out. Can you imagine if the post office came back to you and said, that's not formatted right? Half the mail would never go anywhere, right? But if I try to send Leah an email and I reversed the 2 letters, would it go anywhere? No, not only would it not go anywhere, but I would get a 5-page report on how dumb I was. And it should have just said, well, listen, Carl, if you could just spell, it would have gone through. But they lecture me for 5 pages of error reports. Yeah, over 3 days. Oh, we kept trying to send your lame email out, Carl. You still can't sell. Your grammar is still terrible. I thought Leah was a friend. You know, I mean, so, right. So that's the difference. This is about precision and accuracy. This is about process. Okay, we often confuse that. All right. Now, where are you guys all? So you're in IT solutions. Alan, you're a C company. I would put you in the C company. Talent agent. So you're like a staffing agent in a sense?
I'd probably be green.
You'd probably be a green?
Yeah.
Okay. Does everybody know, you're getting the flavor for this? Does everybody know where you are? Anybody not know what quadrant you belong in? Or like, hey, I think you're in retail, aren't you, Stacy? Okay, so you're in both. You've got front of the house, back of the house. Okay, so let me give you this distinction about this wheel. Everybody cool with where they are? All right, excellent. So let's just go around the table real quick, just so I have a flavor for where you all are. You know, more mature businesses, they've been in business for a while. We tend to have more S&C companies, but when the earlier stage you are, there tend to be more D&I companies. So just to give me a flavor. So JT, where are you? You're an I? Okay, cool. Construction, S, awesome. Retail, right on. Also, you're INS. Marketing, so yeah, so sales company. Do you manufacture the products? No, so you're a sales company. Okay, cool. And bookkeeping? Yeah, or S. C, do you do accounting services as well? No, consulting. Oh, you do consulting. Okay, so you're going to add that on. Excellent, Leah. You'd be I? Cool. Same?
I would say C, but you know, if this for company, but personal, I'm D.
All right, right on. We'll come to that. S?
And for S and C, depending on which side of the business.
Okay, cool. Whoops.
So for the event, it's S.
Great. Okay, excellent. So retail and restaurant. Gotcha. I?
I think I'm an I.
Okay, I would agree.
I think I'm an
S? I as well. Cool. So not surprising. Usually, especially when you're getting started. Now, it might change over time. You might be an I, and then you're selling so much, and you're like, I'm giving away too much margin. I'm bringing this in-house, and you might move, right? Or your business might move. That's cool. You'll evolve over time, and at some point, you might end up where you have different business units in different quadrants. Totally cool. So what we want to do is we want to look at whatever quadrant you're in. You're going to look to the diagonal opposite as where you are likely going to innovate your business. So here is the path to innovation, depending on where you're at. So I'll write these down and then hang them up to innovation in your business. If you're a D company, you're going to go S, I, C. You are an I company, you are going to go C, D, S. If you're an S company, you're going to go D, I, C. And if you're a C company, you are going to go I, D, S. That's your path of innovation. Okay, the book that you got yesterday, 7 Stages of Small Business Success, you'll notice that on the graph, there's like this little code at the end of every stage. There's a D, I, S, and C. Capital letter means you put major focus in your business there. Lowercase letter means minor focus. Okay? So you're going to look at every part of your business, but the sequence in which you go after it matters. Okay? Go out of sequence and you can add friction to the system and it could just take longer to get out of the gate. One of the first things we see when we start working with a client is that they are working on the right things, but oftentimes in the wrong sequence. Okay? Now, one more distinction on that. I had a feeling we had a lot of I companies in the room. So let me show you this here. Okay. So on a blank sheet of paper, just draw this the way I've got it. Okay. There are two sides to your business. There is the front of the house, and there is the back of the house. The front of the house is the effective side of your business. In other words, you need to get the result no matter what it takes. You will never make this fully efficient. Now, I get it. Use your website to generate leads, build consistency, have inbound lead generation systems in place, hire a call center. That's all great. You can add efficiencies to this side, but you will never make it fully efficient. So if any of you think that you're going to automate your way into growth on this side of the business, you cannot spend enough money or hire enough people to do it. You have to be fully effective first. And what that means is, in order for your sales and marketing to be fully effective, there has to be a component of it where you are looking in the eyeballs of the people that are going to buy from you and find and get real-time response as to what is working and what is not. You can run focus groups all day long, but you know what? I want to talk to the person who's going to pay for the service. So I want to know that if I'm telling you that my idea to do a $5,000 thing or a $10,000 thing, if I want to see their response and I want to know right there, the person that's going to buy. I've been in focus groups. Oh yeah, I'd buy that. Yeah, until it came time to buy it, and then I didn't buy it. Right? Everybody's interested when you don't have to make a commitment. Okay? But when it comes time for commitment time and we need to close you, I need to be effective. I need to know what gets the job done. Remember I said I do a 5-to-1 ROI guarantee? That's because I used to have a 2-to-1 ROI guarantee. And I used to tell people that and they'd be like, oh, cool. Then I went to 3-to-1 and then I went to 4-to-1. And then when I got to 5-to-1's the magic number. I said, people, I've got a 5-to-1. Shit, 5-to-1. What's ours? We give like 10% extra. That's our risk reversal. Ours sucks. His is good. You know what the difference between a 4-to-1 ROI and a 5-to-1 ROI is? Nothing. Except you like it better. That's why I do it. And if 5-to-1 doesn't work, I'm going to 6. Well, it's 5. Carl, really? That was like so last week. You know, you need a better one. Cool. I'll go to 6. I'll go to 7. I know I can make it. Right? And I don't need to go to 9 because you didn't like that one either. We tried them all out. But when I was in front of you and I said 5-to-1, you're like, right on. That's how I know it's effective, because I did it right in front of you and I know you will pay more for my services because of a 5-to-1 ROI. So now I can make it more efficient. Now I can put in some processes. Now I can hire a call center and I can hire my IT firm and I can say, go out there, baby, with that 5-to-1 because it works. And as soon as it stops working, I'll go back. I'm going to keep testing. Okay. Right. So you have to make this side of your business effective. Okay. Now here's what we suggest. You have in the marketing quadrant, you have 5 lead generation systems running at any given time. All right. So take a moment and write down what are the ones that you are doing right now. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and fill in the blank. And if you only do 3, that's cool. You only do 3. All right. But we need 5 in order to be effective in your business. Oh, by the way, for all of you that can't wait to automate your lead generation system for half the cash in Alan's pocket. All right. How much cash you have on you, Alan? 70 bucks. Business is good in the IT world. 70 bucks. All right. $35 on the line here. If you get this right, Google updates its algorithm how many times per year? Okay. So this isn't Family Feud where you all get to like team up on Alan. Your money's safe now. I read 400 times a year. That is 1.4 times per day or something like that. So in other words, they are doing something daily, but it's about 400 times a year. So you want your whole lead generation system relying on something where the person, your partner, Google's your partner, their whole existence relies on them being one step ahead of you. If anyone ever figures them out, they are dead. They will never allow you to catch up to them. You see what I mean? And now and again, just to flatten the field, they're going to make a major update they do minor ones all day long, every day. But now and again, remember when they did the weighting towards social media and relevancy, a year and a half ago was a big update. They're going to do that now and again. And every one of our clients that was like, our website's killing it, right? And I'm like, go to the networking event. Why would we do that? Dude, I'm calling from the beach. Guess when they went to the networking event? Right after Google changed it and their traffic dropped through the floor. Okay. Then all of a sudden it was like, what was that networking event you were talking about? Yeah. You should have been there 2 years ago. Right. So you want to have 5 lead generation systems running at any given time. Okay. So how many do you, just raise your hand. How many do you have? Indicate with your hand how many are generating lead. 5, 4. Okay. So that's a good question. So we got 5. So we have a few people. 6, not right on. Okay. So some people have 1, 2, or 3. So a lead generation system is any system you put in place. 6 or 7. Good. You're together. Okay. All right. Excellent. So you have 6 or 7. That's excellent. You just want to diversify your portfolio of lead. Some are better than others. I get it. And some you're going to go and you're like, oh, it's not really, I don't get it. It's not as good. So examples of lead generation systems would be speaking. Okay. Like, speaking can take all forms: webinars, lunch and learns, clinics. You can sponsor a table at an expo and you also get the speaking gig, something like that. Trade events where you are an exhibitor. It's another one. Okay. Personal networking is a third. Okay. Joint venture partnerships we talked about yesterday. Joint ventures where you write something on behalf of somebody else. They do cross promotion. Okay. Blogging, you can do pay-per-click. You can do, ads, banners. Right. I would digital, any digital or online lead generation system I put under one bucket. So I would make sure that you have 5 where you can find the prospect and also where you can get found by the prospect. You want both. The ones where you find the prospects are the ones that are going to help you best with all of your messaging. Okay. Again, you can split test all day long, but when you are online, getting leads online, you have to entertain planet Earth in order to get your funnel. Yes, nobody falls through the funnel because it's the whole effing planet is in it, right? I've got to entertain all of you, right? Every morning we put on, what does my wife like? We listen to My House by Flo Rida. It's got 100 and some odd billion hits. I've never bought a thing from Flo Rida, ever. And yet every morning we're like, we're dancing. You guys ready? All right, see you later. Thanks, Flo Rida. And we still haven't bought anything from him. But he has to entertain planet Earth in order to get 20,000 people into buying something from him. I'm not saying digital is not the way to go. You want to have a digital strategy, but just understand that people think it's like this silver bullet, holy grail. And to generate leads, you are starting out by spending $7,000, $10,000 a month in order for that to be an overall consistent strategy. So people say to me, just get, we'll take care of it online. We do digital for all of our clients. We help them build their digital strategy. So I'm not trying to talk you out of it. Just, it's not the holy grail. Okay. We need to have 5 lead generation systems. Everybody got that? They will help you refine your message because you will know what they respond to. All right. So we're a business coaching company, right? And the people that come to us, our coaches, are people who are sold their business, are corporate executives, but they've run large businesses, right? And so one day we were at a trade show booth and somebody was standing in front of us. And I just said, he's like, yeah. But, and one of the things we do is after we create your plan, we actually stay with you and help you drive the plan, right? Doesn't that sound exciting? We help you drive the plan. Okay, but here's what sounds better. We actually become an extension of your management team. In other words, we come in and we work side by side with you, and and we assign 4 advisors to every client, somebody who's a strategy expert, someone who's a business development expert, someone who's an operational expert, and someone who's a financial expert. Okay, now watch the nod. The heads are nodding now, right? There's a better message than we help you drive the plan. Right? Okay. And so we become an extension of your management team. And oh, by the way, in order to qualify to work on your account, every one of our advisors has to have bought, sold, run, managed, launched, or advised a company equal or larger than the one that you're trying to run. You're never getting that out of a focus group. So I don't know where we pull, I don't forget who said it or where we pulled it out of. But once we said that, the guy was like, damn, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, we come right in yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. We're going to become an extension of your management team. And you did run a business bigger than that. You did. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how it came about. And then we said, that was really good. Everybody that walks in the booth, say that to them. Let's find out their response. And people were like, wow, that's impressive. That's really cool. Okay. By the way, our average engagement went from 2 years to 4 years on that alone. So being in front of the prospect and trying out what you do and how you sell it is going to tell you what the message is. And then you put the system in place and you drive that message home until it doesn't work anymore. But you're always out in the field trying out your message. Always, 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 always. Okay. All right. That's the quickest way to be effective. Don't try to make this side of the business efficient too quick, and don't try to make that effective too quick. Okay, here's the other thing you do. All right, and then I'll move on. What do you mean, don't try to make this effective? Don't I want a result there? Of course you do. But these are process people. You don't take your whole team to the strategic planning session every year. It scares us. It scares the bejesus out of them, and it makes them feel uncertain, right? Like I'm not a fan of hiding things from people, but you don't have to have the sales team on every operational meeting, right? Because sales people work on optimism. They just want to walk out there knowing that my back of the house just runs like a charm. Well, guess what? The back of the house people are driven by problems. It's what motivates them. It's what gives them energy. You take away my problems, you've taken away my motivation. So here's what happens. Sales team, why don't you come in, just understand what the ops team is working on. And what do the ops team talk about the entire time? Problems. And guess what? The sales team walks out. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea it was that bad. And then they get in front of a prospect and they say, so how are your operations? Can you deliver? And they're like, yeah. I mean, I was just in on the ops meeting and they seem pretty positive. And they fold like a suitcase in front of the prospect. All right. Because you just scared the crap out of them. All right. So don't send them there and don't send them there. Right. Do your strategic plan, then hand it to them and say, what do you guys think? How do we make this happen? And then take their feedback. But, be careful. This again, what I'm trying to do is remove the barriers to growth. And you've got a few doors you guys need to open. Okay.
Conversely, the other side is more solution oriented. Like, let's do this.
This group, all they think, they're results focused. In other words, all right, $70, Ellen. All right, so you got a shot at this one. Okay, now for $35, and again, it's not Family Feud. You get one guess, and then if you don't, then his money's safe. In an auto manufacturing facility, how many people build an auto? Who said zero? You owe Dolores, is it? Oh, sorry, Daphne. Okay, thank you. Daphne, you owe her lunch. Or at least some really good rice and beans. What's for lunch? Box lunch? At least a boxed lunch and a beverage. All right? Okay. Nobody. If you go into an auto manufacturing facility, nobody's ever built a car. If you're there for 15 years, you're like the right passenger door rivet guy. And if you do that really well and you go to management, guess what part of the production you're going to manage? The right front door. It's the only thing you know. Right? And you watch that guy do it. They've never seen the result. They've never seen I don't know what you're talking about, girl. I don't build a car. I'm the right rivet guy. Okay. So if the assembly line run does well, these people here have never seen the result. They see it, but they've never done the result. And that's totally cool. The better your systems are, the more you should be able to answer that. I'm the get them in the door guy, and then you take it from there. It's not that I wouldn't help. It's not. I'm not trying to create that's not my job culture, but it's just I'm willing to do whatever. But I'm the master of the get them in the door guy, right? And that's my specialty. So I can get really efficient about that. But if you start bringing me into every strategy session and I see the big picture too much, you're going to scare the crap out of me, and I'm not going to be as efficient. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So just think about your job for your business for a second. Based on what I just said, where are you trying to make efficient versus effective? Where are you mixing that up? All right. Just take a second and write that down. Yep. You don't have to. I'll tell you what. Yes, but not to me. Turn to your neighbor. Where are you mixing the back of the house and front of the house efficiency and effectiveness? Where do you need to separate that again? Okay, just write that down. All right. And because we don't want to do that. We want to separate that. Okay. And we'll do our innovation workshop here. So we have an hour. We're doing good on time, guys. Okay. Everybody good? You understand your back versus front of the house? Telling you it's the first cardinal sin. It's the first place we look because we know everyone's making that mistake. $100 million companies making the same damn mistake. Stuck. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Wow, look at this. We grew 10%. Yeah, what do you know? Right? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is based on you have it the questions right in front of you, but I'm sure they're a little small. So you might have to read them a little bit up here. And remember, on your slides, there's a little short code if you want to get the slides. And we have some additional training videos. I think the very first slide shows the short code. Does it?
And the very last one.
Or the very last one, first or last? Okay. So there is a little short code there. Everyone know what a short code is? All right. So I'm not going to explain what a short code is. If you do not know what that is, send me an email, and that email is on there with the subject line, and it's an autoresponder. It goes right to you. Okay. But all the slides, additional training videos, as well as a copy of the book will come your way. Okay. Electronic copy. But no matter what quadrant you find yourself in, all right, there's untapped potential in every part of your business. So we're going to do a little innovation workshop right now where you can think of some ideas in each area of your business, and then we'll do the obnoxious offer, okay? So the first question is, what is the ultimate fantasy for your business 5 years from today? Ultimate fantasy for your business 5 years from today. And capture the bullet points. All right. Who did I talk to yesterday? You have a franchisable business. Multiple. Might be. Okay. So that's okay. So yeah. So if I had that conversation with you, you might say, maybe we've franchised, or we have the distribution, or maybe we're doing work for Fortune 500s, not just small to medium-sized businesses, or maybe we've cracked the SMB market because right now we work with larger companies. We've gone international, or we've gone public, or I've sold the business. What's just a couple of bullet points. What is your ultimate fantasy for your business 5 years from today? Okay. That would be 2024. How much revenue are you doing? How many employees do you have? What have you done as a result? Oh, we bought that building. We got into real estate. We moved. I have my own place now. It's fantastic. Whatever. Okay, so capture some of the highlights. All right, so as you're writing some things down, call them out so we can enjoy and celebrate with you all. So just yell it out. What's one thing you want? Louder? Running itself. Like it. What else we got?
In a week in revenue.
Woo!
Franchised.
Franchised. Expanded into every major Texas city. Awesome. Being 15 to 20 million. Which one you want? 15 or 20? 20. I like. That's right. 7 energy over here, baby. I always go 30% higher. I like that. What's that? And $2 million net. I like that. 20 million with 2 million net. Good, good. Sell and retire. I like that. One more. Nationwide. Very good. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to build up. There's a way to get to every plan. You know, it just in the next, depending on what you want, we build the plan to get there. So you can absolutely get there. Now, next question is, how can you maximize your 480 minutes? And what is an action you can suggest that will increase the productivity of the 480 minutes of the people around you? So in other words, there are 480 minutes in your workday. Okay? 8 hours a day, 60 minutes an hour, $480, 480 minutes in a day. So what is one thing you can do that will make you just a little bit more productive? And what's one thing that you can do that you can suggest for your team that will make them a little bit more productive? Here's an example for us, is we shifted to Slack as our internal communication app, and we no longer trade email internally. We eliminated internal email. All of our internal communications are on Slack. We only email to customers and prospects. That has saved us some time. It wasn't revolutionary, but it has made us very efficient. Okay? So that was one thing we did. Now, one thing I did personally was, the way our office works is you start your shift, the first 30 minutes, you clear your inbox, escalate any problems to a manager if you can't solve it. That manager is then supposed to escalate it to me by between 11 and 1 o'clock Eastern time every day if there's something that they can't handle, right? So I know between those 2-hour blocks, I'm dealing with whatever major problems are in the company, okay? Now, I used to wait till 11 o'clock. Now, I've got the same access to Slack and email as the rest of them do. I get up early anyway. So I said, you know what? I can kind of predict what's coming my way anyway. So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I pick the few, I'm up already anyway. I pick the few that I think are coming my way. I give them a little nudge in one direction or the other. So now my 11 to 1 o'clock, totally different. And they like it because they're like, cool, I don't have to escalate this thing. I know how to fix it. So that was one thing for me, and Slack was one thing for the team. How about for you? You want at least one for each. One thing for you, one thing for your team. Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on. All right. Everyone have at least one of each. Now we're in the sales quadrant. Okay. One of the quickest ways to impact your sales process is understand the difference between selling and closing. Okay. I'll get you a copy of it if you like on your feedback form. Just write Biz Dev Done Right. I have another book on that's sales production and sales management. There are 9 elements to every transaction. I don't care how you sell, where you sell, online, offline, retail, wholesale, government, bid work, negotiated work, doesn't matter. There's 9 things that happen. They happen in a certain sequence, and that book walks you through it in detail. So on your feedback form, if you want a Biz Dev Done Right book, just write BDDR or Biz Dev Done Right, and I'll send you the book. Chapter 2. There are 2 sets of skills in selling. And what makes you good at one skill gets in the way of you being good at the other, and vice versa. Meaning, if you're a good seller, it prevents you from being a good closer. And if you're a good closer, it gets in the way of you being a good seller. All right? Let me explain. Selling in the sales transaction is all about building the relationship. It's all about rapport. It's kind of like dating. Remember those days, guys, where you didn't like sports and you didn't drink beer and, you know, you like salads and romantic movies and walking on the beach? All right? Okay? And so it's all about building rapport, doing a needs analysis, all about agreement, and qualifying the prospect. No exchange of money there, no commitment, okay? Then there's closing. Closing is all about breaking rapport. It's about killing the last part of the relationship in favor for the next part of the relationship, right? As soon as you buy from me, you're no longer a prospect. Right now, you're all prospects. I don't think any of us have done business before, but you're all prospects until you buy. As soon as you buy, you're no longer a prospect. You must die as a prospect to be a customer, right? And once you're a customer, if you buy from me a second time, now you're a client or repeat customer, whatever you call them. So you're no longer, I had to kill off the one-time purchase. Now you've bought from me multiple times. All right. So think about this. Now, you probably weren't expecting this, but gentlemen, you're going to get a little bonus education today. You are really going to like this. Ladies, the gentlemen in the room will need help. Okay. Help them here. They will struggle with this question. Okay. So sales is like dating. I'm sure you've heard this analogy before, but sales is like dating. When you first start out with somebody, you're just dating, right? They're a prospect. We're not sure if we're doing it. It's just lunch, right? We haven't decided on anything yet. However, there comes a point where you go from dating and then they pop the question. And if the engagement ring goes on your finger, what do we call the relationship at that point? You are engaged. Are you still dating? No. Now, here's the part what the guys struggle with. Guys they do a lot of what they call test closes to see if she's going to say yes, right? So she buys the ring and he buys the ring, he's carrying it around, and it's got lint on it. He's been waiting for the right moment. So finally he thinks this is the day. I'm going to pop the question this day. And then there comes a point where the ring comes out of the pocket. And from here to the finger is no man's land. All right. Now, guys, what happens if she says yes? You are now what? Ladies, if you say no, what happens next? Do you go back to dating? Really? You say, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, you know what? My bad. Bad timing. We'll just go back to dating. Or is it over? It's over. The guys are just thinking like, well, no, it doesn't depend. It's over, gentlemen. It's over. All right. Okay. You don't go back to dating. All right. The sellers are afraid of that. They're afraid of losing the prospect. So here's what they do. They play volleyball. As long as the ball's in the air, we must be selling. No, you're not selling. They are comparison shopping. All right. And the idea behind sales is not to build a big pipeline and not to have a whole bunch of people in your pipeline. It's about it's all about finding out how quickly you can get them to a yes or a no. We don't want maybes. Maybes are killers. Okay. And the worst place you can come in when it comes to sales is second place. It is the worst place you can come into. What that means is you have dragged the whole company and all of its resources all the way to the end, only to lose out to whom? The other guy, the competitor, likely. And you're like, oh, we were a finalist. This isn't the Olympics. You don't get a silver medal in sales. You either win it or you lose it. But you have to, what the struggle is, most sellers struggle with qualifying. They are afraid of the word no. They don't want to come into the sales meeting and say, yeah, well, I decided to cut that off. I'm not pursuing that, right? The person who is stealing from you the most is the salesperson with the largest pipeline. Flat out. Well, that's my most productive person. They might be your most productive person. They might be your top salesperson. They're also stealing the most at the same time. Look at their cost of sale because they are dragging everybody. I'm on my 19th lunch. I'm on my 14th this and my 22 touches. I want to know here, you in, you out. That's why right? If you try to become efficient, you're going to come in second a lot. If you're effective, you're going to find out here. Because I'll say right in front of you, I do a 5-to-1, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, pretty good, right? Or you're going to be like, so what? I know someone who does 6. Sorry. And they're gone. Right? Okay. And so I'll know here. I'm not going to have to go all the way to the end with all of you to find out. Well, no. Right? Because there's an effective side and an efficient side, right? Now, the closing is all about breaking rapport. It's all about terms and conditions. It's all about the money, and it's all about the commitment. Okay? Now, what's nice about this is you can learn both sets of skills. If you're more wired one or the other, but you can learn the other set of skills so you can do both. I was wired much more as a seller in my life. I had to learn closing. When I first started my first company, anytime I didn't get a landscaping project, I was like, oh, I can't believe it. Like, I took it personally. Why? And I was 18. I didn't know any better. My mentor was like, shut up. You're not going to close every one of them. I'm like, really? Then why did they call? I just didn't get it, right? I love closing now. But I had to learn it. I had to learn that set of skills. Okay. So if you are more task oriented and you are faster paced and outgoing, or slower paced and introverted, if you're that combination, task oriented, slower paced and introverted, or faster paced, then you're probably wired more as a closer. If you are more people oriented, whether you're faster paced or slower paced, introvert or extrovert, you're likely more of a seller. And you just need to learn the other set of skills. But you need to learn the other set of skills. Okay? Pardon me? Teach you how to close today? Yes, I could do yes, we'll get to that for sure. I'll show you mini closes along the way. So check out that book, let me get you the book, because there's 9 steps to the sales process. You want a mini close at every step. And I'll show you how to do that. We get commitments at every step. There's always, in other words, homework. You give your prospects homework. You train them that every time we talk, there's an action that happens afterwards. Okay? And one of the quickest ways to impact your sales function is understand who your sellers are, understand who your closers are, move the sellers to the front end of the funnel, move the closers to the back end of the funnel. Okay? When you go to buy a car, how many salespeople are on the floor? Handful, multiple. How many managers are there in the back? 1 or 2. So you can have a whole bunch of sellers and you only need a couple of closers. Okay? So what you do is you start building your affiliate base, your brand ambassadors, referral partners. They're the people that all they got to do is get somebody excited about working with you. And then as soon as it gets technical, they hand it over to you. So the quickest, cheapest way in order to build your business is go out and get affiliates, brand ambassadors, have people hire. They don't need to know anything about they need to know very little about your business. If you're doing a trade show, hire narrators or models for the day. Have them walk the floor or be outside and hand out postcards. Ooh, check us out. Come get drinks at the local wherever afterwards. They're cheap, they're easy, and they don't scorch earth, right? If they're not good at what they do, you'll say, oh, Joey or Janie, I'm so sorry they left. Like, oh, we love that person. They won't kill the relationship. But you put a closer out there to do selling work, they can't stand people, right? The people are a total annoyance. Like, and they read their favorite selling book. You did the introverts book, right? The introverts, right? Right. Those are closers. They totally love the whole 1 out of 20 thing. Like, give me 19 no's because the 20th is a sale. They love the numbers. So they're like, it's okay, Leah. You can tell me no. I can't stand you anyway. And you're number 18. I just have to get to Beth. They don't say it with their words, but they mean it in their body language. Like, really? 3rd year in a row, you're at the trade show. You're definitely going to make a decision this year? Right. Yeah. Why don't you move on? And so they're like, well, screw you. I'm going to. Ooh, and then they'll buy from somebody else. Closers, it's harder to be a closer. Closers are happy to get a no, but they're too happy to get a no, if you know what I mean. Right? So you put the sellers out in the front end of the funnel and then lead them into the closers. Right? Can you imagine? Like, you remember the last time you bought a car? You know what it's like dealing with the finance manager in the back? He or she is brutal. Like, I'm so excited. What do I give a shit? You want the mud flaps? $50 more. I'd like to spend 42,000 instead of 43. I'll go 42.7. I can't promise that, but that's my offer right now. It is, can you imagine them on the floor? Oh, they'd never sell a car. Oh my goodness, that would be terrible. They're right where they belong as the closer. Find out who your sellers are. Find out who your closers are. All right. Take a moment, write down who are my sellers, who are my closers. What am I? Am I a seller and I have to learn closing? All right. Where do I need to, move? Where do I need to move the people to the activities? Okay. Understand that. Don't have the closers do the selling. Don't have the sellers do the closer.
So they can do both.
They can do both,
Trained.
and you can train them up over time. So you want your quick and dirty sales comp plan?
Yeah.
All right, here's how it works. 10% of the sales commission goes to generating the lead. Whoever generates the lead gets 10% upon closing. 30% of the commission goes to the seller. 60% of the commission goes to the closer. You bring people in as sellers and you say, listen, you generate a lead that closes, you get 10%. And I'll tack on, and even if you just do an email intro, you can get 10% for that. However, if you go to the trade show and you do the needs analysis and the qualification and you build rapport and you bring them to you'll find out step 5 out of 9, and then you hand them off, you can get up to 40%. Sometimes I'll even hand you a lead and you work that lead. I'll keep the 10%, but you can get 30%. And if you do good enough with that, I'll teach you the closing side where you can do the whole sequence. Make sense? That's how you build your sales team. Start them there, have them work their way through the process map.
Start them at 10%.
Start everybody as a seller.
Yeah.
Unless they have proven closing capabilities. But you would say, so if I'm filling this conference for next year, I have a whole bunch of affiliates on social media, on my website. Oh my God, you got to check this out. Right.
Like how many of you guys are in the room because someone else told you to come and then you
Right.
go to me and then like that.
You're the closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as they ask a technical question about the speakers or the agenda or all that, over my pay grade, go talk to Steph or Anna. Right? They're the closer because they can explain it.
But you would only move the 10%ers to the 30%. You wouldn't move them to the closing.
Not yet.
Right.
Right.
Okay, got it.
They can hang in there. Like you make it part of the training. Let's say, listen, you can sit in on the closing, but you have to be quiet. Like don't say anything because a closer, that's when it's like, all right, it's $1,000. Yeah, but yeah, it's still $1,000. You can weep all day long on here. It's still $1,000. Like how much is this program? 2,500. Okay, so it's 2,500. Next year it'll be 3,000 by the time we're done with the obnoxious offer.
As of yesterday, it's $10,000 based on what you told me.
Right, 10 grand for the VIP experience, for the one-on-one coaching with the speakers. You can go the VIP route, right? And yeah, so you'll say, well, listen, it's 10 grand, but if you book now, it's $79.99, and you get a full day with so-and-so and so-and-so and such and a business makeover and blah, 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 right? But that's when the conversations have to get a little uncomfortable. When it comes to closing, an undisturbed prospect does not buy. An undisturbed prospect does not buy. So you can't have a rapport builder be like, I know you want to go and I'll throw in the other 5,000 that get you there. It can't happen. You got to want it bad enough to get your ass here. Because as much as you all invested money to be here, more importantly, you invested time to be here, right? Because you could be in your own businesses selling at least $2,500 worth of services. So, right? So this has to be really worth your time. And the rapport builder isn't always prepared for that conversation because you really have to hold your ground, right? And say, look, this is worth it. You're going to miss out. FOMO, if you don't show, right?
Can you have a quick closing? Can you have a seller and a closer at the same meeting? Let's say seller already built a report on the phone.
Perfect.
Can you have them both
Yes.
at the same meeting quicker?
So one way to do it is segment the process and have a seller then hand it off to a closer. The other way is to have them together, act as a team, or have the closer on call. So for example, if you ever gone to a casino, here's a good example. There's a pit boss, right? There's like 10 tables and there's always somebody walking around just in case there's a problem. And there's the dealer smiling and dealing. And if there's a problem, pit boss comes over, right? Or on a sales floor, if you've been to a call center, there's people making phone calls, but there's a manager who's in charge of these two rows, and they'll raise their hand if they need the manager. Manager will come over, hit the button. Oh yes, how can I help you? You know, like you ever have a problem with customer service and you say, listen, can I speak to your manager? That in the call center, that person raised their hand or hit a button and the manager's already waiting, right? So there's a closer assigned to that, right? The other thing you can do, we have a couple of clients where they go out together. They'll just go speak together and we write a script. Seller speaks, then you be quiet, and then the closer picks up from there. So you could do it that way.
So they have to be on the same page.
They have to have the same script, but they will talk about totally different things. So what's your business again?
I'm in real estate and I'm a really big closer, and my husband is the seller, and there was a couple of times we went to the same meeting and it's all about crying with the seller, it's foreclosure, and I'm like,
Right. Right. Okay. Yes, you can. But you build the script. Like literally, we will say, and I'm sorry, what's your husband's name? Victor. Okay. Victor, and I'm sorry, your name? Nina? Nina. So it'll say, Nina opens the meeting, introduces everybody, introduces Victor. Victor does X, da, 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 da. Then Nina comes in, and then Victor agrees with Nina. Nina then thanks Victor. Like literally, this is a Broadway play when you go into it and you write it out and everybody has their script and you stick to the script, you know? And so, you know, it's the good cop, bad cop. Let them cry with them. I'm so sorry. It must be so hard on you. And then you come in, he says that, and then you wait, because the script says wait till they start to cry. And then when they start to cry, you said, listen, can you imagine your life 2 more years in this place? So ma'am, sir, ma'am, whoever, you owe $500,000 now. How would you like to owe $700,000 plus you're going bankrupt at the same time? And based on what you've told me so far, that's another $250,000. Can you imagine a life 2 years from now going through everything you're going now, but being $1 million in the hole and no way out? Victor says, really, it's that bad? Yeah, I ran the math, right? Like you guys will actually have a script and go back and forth. And then when he'll walk out and he'll be like, he will say, didn't I do good? And you'll be like, shut up. Stop crying in the meeting, right? You got to let him cry, but then he's got to let you be the hard ass. Right.
And it just gets so emotional.
Yeah. So you need the emotion. Sale typically happens at an emotional peak, right? And it doesn't always have to be bad. It could just be like, wow, love that watch. I'm like, your watch is so much nicer than my watch. Get that. Like now I'm intrigued. I want to go check out the watch and I'm going to see it. And I'm like, damn, that watch is better. Now I have a decision to make. I've been sold now. Can I close on it? So yeah, you can have them together, but definitely script it out, because you're probably scorching too much earth in the meeting and he's crying too much. So you guys are probably tripping over each other a little bit in the meeting. So just lay it out. Most meetings, most appointments go the similar way every time, right? And so when we do our stuff, we're on the phone with somebody and we are waiting for what is called the what question. Okay. And this is pretty common. So the what question is, in our philosophy, we are not allowed to sell anybody at any time. We will never talk about our fee structure unless you ask. And the way that you'll ask is something called the what question. So what's next? What are your programs for companies like mine? Or what is it you do for a living here, Carl? Or what is your fee structure? Well, since you asked, I'll tell you, but I won't tell you until you ask. All right. And so we have a script that's designed to have you ask us the what question. And if you don't ask, we'll say, take the plan. Our philosophy is we will coach you until you insist on paying us. That's the way we work. Right. But we have a very specific script to get there. You guys have to build the emotion and get them to crack. You have your job as a seller and a closer is to magnify the emotion of your prospects beyond their capacity to handle it. That's your job. You can get them to that point, you will sell more. Magnify their emotion beyond their capacity to handle it. And then they are disturbed enough to buy. Okay? Good with that? All right.
One question.
Sure.
You know, like, moving people from selling to closing, you know, you were saying, start everybody at selling and then move them over, you know, as needed. You know, when you get to that 30%, that's where you want to move them, or, I mean, can you have somebody that is good at both?
Yes, you can. And your ultimate goal is to have your team be able to do both selling and closing. The likelihood, though, is that you can find more sellers right up front. People are actually naturally good at it, most people. They might not think they are, but they usually are. If you're excited about something, you're a good seller, right? So it's easier, lower risk, and lower cost to find more sellers. Absolutely look for closers. Get as many as you can. And then train the closers on selling, train the sellers on closing, and just in your overall sales enrichment and training program, make sure you're teaching everybody both. Okay.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Try to keep it real specific, but one of the challenges we have with IT is the fact that many people just don't understand technology. That's fine.
Right.
We try not to talk the tech talk either. But an example of this is property management. The guy who owns it is a 30-year-old Duke grad with a Spanish degree.
Right.
And over the last 6 months, we've been trying to get him to engage. We've done a $1,500 cleanup of his network room because he wants it to look nice. He still has no backup on his primary server.
Right.
There comes a time where I got to look at it and go, is this worth our time, or am I doing something wrong? Is there a technique to knowing when that moment to walk away is?
Right. So did you write down the 5 complaints from yesterday? Okay. And I'm sure one of the complaints is what you do is so technical, I don't understand what you're telling me. Right? Okay. What you're selling is not what they're buying. And we work with a lot of MSPs. Okay. What your clients are buying is uninterrupted business operations. They could care less about you. They don't want, right? So that's what you sell them. Sell this dude from Duke. Just say, listen, here's the cost if you go down. Like, here's what you would have to spend. You have an involuntary IT person. That might be you, whatever. You know, here are the ongoing costs if your computer ever goes down, or, you know, you ever get ransomware, the whole bit, right? Here are our programs. Our silver, and we'll do this when we build it. Here's your bronze, silver, gold. Our gold packages, we guarantee you will never go down based on technology. However, in order to do that, we are going to have a backup system. You're going to have our monitoring system. You know, you see what I'm saying? And you're going to have a program that just gives them the benefits and says, listen, if you go down due to technology, we will not charge you, and we will pay you every day you're down due to technology. But you're going to pay me this. Now you're just selling benefits. I think the challenge is we have a client in Australia. Check them out. They're called Super Geek. #1 IT franchise in Australia. Okay. They had 27 units, unprofitable. And the guy was thinking of buying back all the units because it just wasn't going well. We did research on all of the franchises. The top franchises were the least technical franchisees who had the most callbacks because they had to fix things more than once. And the lowest performing franchises were the best techs who did not have a good personal manner. Okay. And so what we literally had to teach all the techs that before they were allowed to talk about the problem, there were 4 pieces of information they had to get out of everybody before they were allowed to talk to their client. So literally they had to ask these 4 questions. Okay. And then I'll move on. Okay. So when you're selling, 4 things you need to know about it from every prospect are this. Have any of you ever seen the acronym FORM before? It's 4 different things. FORM, FORM. This was popularized in the network marketing world. Where are you from, and what's your family? What's your occupation? What do you do for recreation? What do you do for fun? And what do you do for motivation? What are you passionate about? What drives you? Okay. So if you're teaching somebody selling, you say before you're allowed to talk about your product or service, you need these 4 pieces of information, because that'll tell you what's important to them and how to close them. Okay. All right. So I would think, Alan, I would look at the positioning of your products and services, because he's not buying into the server because he doesn't understand what it means. Right. The problem with most MSPs is the better you do your job, the more, and it's the whole industry, the better you do your job, the more your clients don't think they need you. That's the challenge in the industry. So, right. So, and same thing with bookkeeping. If you're in a service, a maintenance kind of business, a recurring revenue type business, the better you do your job, the more they think they can do without you. So you want to make a bold promise, and then you're going to get paid to have more recurring touches to prove how good of a job you're doing. Right. That's usually the path for an MSP. Certainly that's what we've done very successfully with our MSP clients. I would go down that road, because that guy is never going to buy your features and advantages. He's going to buy the benefits, because he just doesn't. You could talk to him till he's blue in the face. My dad had that company for 30 years, sold it to my brother, and my brother's an MSP as well. And my brother does the same thing. He pulls his hair out. He's like, they don't get it. I'm like, they never will. How many more years do you have to do this before you get that they're never going to understand what you do? Right. And they don't care. I don't care. My brother starts, I'm the non-tech dork in my family. And he tries to explain this stuff to me. He's like, Carl, I just want to explain it so it doesn't happen again. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I have the call Ralph button. I don't have any, my IT button's the call Ralph button. I don't want to know. I got other things to fill my brain with. Okay.
Like this, oh my God, you're the best. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're like, why are we spending?
Exactly.
If it's going well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So we did this before. What are the top 5 complaints in my industry, and how can we solve those and put them into our business plan? We're going to build, we did that yesterday. We're going to build the obnoxious offer around that. And then there's a couple of questions here. We're not going to do these 3. These are questions to ask of your employees, and and looking for areas of inefficiency in your processes. Right. So these are 3 good questions to ask your key staff to make sure we know what drives them. What do you want to do here? Meaning career path. What do you want to learn that has nothing to do with your job? And what do you need to learn that will make you better at your job? Okay. And the next 2 are about process efficiency. How can we improve each process that we have by 1%? And then if I were to cut the budget of this process by 10%, how can we still deliver a better product or service or experience? All right. Because now you're going to get both answers. You're going to get, well, I can improve this process 1% if you give me 10% more stuff to do it with. No. And what if I cut your budget? I still want that list of being more efficient. Okay. So you want both sets of ideas. Does that make sense? I'm willing to give you more money, process improvement, and I'm willing to take money away. But I still need the process improvement. You want both of those lists. Now, here's one. I want you to capture a few ideas. We're up in the top left-hand corner. Write down, what is it you do that's unique in your business? We are unique in how we hire. We're unique in how we sell. We're unique in our guarantee. We are unique in that we have a proprietary license or a software, or people tell us our culture is amazing. Whenever people hire us, they tell us the reason why they did was because we're better than the others at this certain thing. What is it you do that's unique? Think sales, think fulfillment, think hiring, think culture. Okay? What we want to do, we're not going to do that today, but what you want to take that list, and we're going to create programs for each one. Okay? So I mentioned yesterday that I went to a Tony Robbins seminar and spoke at the events and done some stuff there. If you've been to any one of his seminars, he has a staff of nearly 500 people at every event. And of that 500, you can't find 20 people he's paying. They're all volunteers. And in order for a for-profit company to use volunteers, you literally can't give them anything. I can't put them up in a hotel. I can't even give them the t-shirt they wear. I can't feed them. I can't do anything. I can trade off services, and that's what he does. When Tony comes on stage and he's talking to you, there are people like me, trainers in the back, giving training to the volunteer staff. That's the trade-off. So he says, if you want to come and learn cutting edge ways to run seminars, do coaching, do consulting, if you've been through this program, you can come back and crew, they call it, right? You can be a crew member. And so when he's talking to you, there's another seminar going on in the back. There's a training room with 500 people in it where they're learning various consulting and coaching and other skills. That's how he does it. Well, so what he does that is unique, is how he runs his events. So he's able to, so think about it. He gets free labor for almost all of his, like if you've done his fire walk, there wasn't one person there being paid. Those are all volunteers. So I go back and I train the fire walkers. That's one of my jobs. How you guys doing? Doing good? No one getting burnt today? Good, good. And we want to make sure. All right. And they'll walk 10,000 people without incident. And they're all volunteers. Okay. Because he has found out what he does unique, which is training. His training is world class. It's cutting edge. And he's willing to give it to you as long as you're willing to trade off your weekend. You come and you put the handouts on the chairs. You help us with the logistics. You sign people in. As soon as they're all good, you go in the back and you get a 40-hour training seminar. That's his trade-off. So he's monetized, or at least reduced the expense of one of his key variable costs. You want to do the same thing. He doesn't just say, I do training. He has an NAC certification. He's got this. He's got a number of different things that he does. Does that make sense? We're going to do the same thing. What does Zappos deliver? A great experience, and it has a name. Happiness. They wrote a book. They can't patent it. As a matter of fact, they wrote a book. They bought a bus. They wrapped the bus. It says, we deliver happiness. They drove it all over the country. Now, think about this. If you work for Zappos, you make about $15 an hour. And tell me if you have a crappier job in your company than this. You pack a box, you drive a forklift, or you work the call center. Who has a crappier job? None of you. Call center. You got a call center. Okay. So if I worked for you, which job is worse than that you have? You don't. Right now, I'm going to change your recruiting plan. You are no longer allowed to recruit people from a 100-mile radius of your office. You have to make sure that whatever they're making with you is less than wherever they moved from in order to work for you. How do you like that recruiting plan? That's Zappos. Most of the people that work for them don't live in Las Vegas, don't live in Memphis, but they move there for the right to make $15 an hour to do one of those 3 jobs. Have you heard about their training program? They train you for 3 weeks. You get paid for that. But on the last day, when you've passed the training, you're about to start, they give you an envelope that's got a check for $2,000 in it, which is 3 weeks take-home pay. And they say, if you sign the check and take the check, you quit. If you want to work here, you have to give that money back, and then you can go and take your job. How many of you offer your new trainees 3 weeks take-home pay to quit before they've worked a day in your business? That's what they do. Read the book. You can take a free, how many businesses do you know run their own shuttle back and forth to the airport because they've gotten so many requests for people to come and see their culture that they run their own shuttle for free? Did you know that? Next time you go to Vegas, sign up, take the Zappos shuttle, go to see their office, do the tour, and they'll take you back. How many businesses do you know for a $15 an hour job? Not like, this isn't a tour of NASA. This is the tour of a warehouse, right? But they have done such a good job of positioning their culture that they get people who are willing to move geography and work less. Okay? So we're going to answer these 2 questions right now. So if you can flip to a new page, I want you to write down a couple of ideas. It's a continuation of this question. Here's how you'll know if you have a good how and a good why, and you are separating yourself from the competition. Then we're going to do we're going to go back to the obnoxious offer. Okay? And then we'll do the obnoxious offer. So here you go. First question. What is so compelling about my business, meaning your business, that an employee would move geography and earn less to work for us? First question. What is so compelling and inspiring about our business that someone would be willing to move geography and earn less? So employees move to earn less. That's the first question. Write down a couple of ideas. What's so compelling about my business? Meaning, what are they going to learn? What certification are you going to give them? Certification, we don't have a certification. You have a training program. We're going to make it a certification program. The way we onboard people. Most people do you throw a party when you fire somebody? Sometimes after they're gone. You did. Do you throw a party for them on the day you fire them? You've done it once, okay? Most times you don't normally do that. So on the first day that they're there, throw a party for them. You're not going to throw one at the end. So the first day on the job, do something really nice for them. And say, this is our induction day. We throw a party for your first day because we're not going to do it on the last. Okay? What, think any other ideas that come to mind? Second question. What's so inspiring and compelling about my business that a competitor's customer will leave them and come to me and buy from me and pay more? What is so compelling or inspiring about my business that a competitor's customer will leave them and pay more to buy from me? What would I have to do? And that's going to lead us into our next exercise. Okay. Have a couple of ideas. All right. Okay, cool. So now let's talk about the obnoxious offer. So here's one of the things I learned. I learned this the very first week I was in business. I was so thankful for this experience, and I've done it in every business I've ever owned and every business I've ever advised. Okay, I learned the difference between and after I built my landscaping company, I sold it. I started a construction company, and one of the things that I did was I opened up a log home dealership. So I was building custom homes and log homes for a period of time. And if you're into that lifestyle, that's a bucket list item purchase. Like you dream of building a log home, dream home. If you're into that lifestyle, that's a big time dream purchase. So I learned the difference between a dream purchase and a business where your clients wish they could not get through life and business without hiring you. I learned the difference between the two. If I built your primary residence, I was just another jerky contractor. But if I built your log home, it was like, oh, all the angels flew and the sun always shined and the whole bit because it was a dream purchase. I learned the difference. So unless you sell Tesla automobiles, Rolex watches, or build log homes, you're probably in the same boat as I'm in now, which means our clients wish they could get through life and business without hiring us. Is that fair? Yeah. All right. So that means, if that's the case, that means when somebody thinks of working with you, they go to the negatives of working with you, not the positives, like I mentioned yesterday. So that's why we want to leverage the top 5 complaints. So once I learned this, my landscaping business doubled every year for 6 years, and then I sold it. Okay? Then I started my construction business. So take a moment. We're going to build the obnoxious offer. And the reason why I came up with this was very early, first year I'm in business, I get called in, I put in a bid, and then I get called from the decision maker. They ask me into their office, and I'm like, wow, this is great. I'm going to win this project. I go in there, and I got yelled at for 20 minutes. Where do you come off with this? We asked you to come and bid because we rejected the 3 bids that we got, and you are off the reservation high. That's what he said. You are off the reservation high, and you are double the amount of the highest person we rejected. And I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go very well. 10 more minutes of being yelled at, and then he hired me. I could not, I was like, I'm from New Jersey. You get yelled at like that, you go to the woodshed. That doesn't work that way where I'm from. I'm like, what just happened? But sure enough, I got hired. And I said, wait a minute. I started to think about it. And I said, why did they hire me? Right? Because all year long, my first season, I heard you contractors never show up. You're not responsive. You don't call back. The number one reason I heard that I got hired was You were the only one who showed up.
It's not even a joke.
And I thought, like, really? Like, that's the reason? Like, I thought I was doing something good. I had spent 6 months in traction and my leg was broken really badly. And I was a loser sitting, sleeping on my mom's couch. And I'm like, I'm still a loser. Like, the only reason I'm here is because I didn't do anything right. I just showed up. Right. But I took the top 5 industry complaints and I've turned it into my guarantee. So at the time, I guaranteed a start date. I guaranteed a finish date. And by the way, my average sale was $62,000. If I didn't deliver, if I didn't finish on that date, you got to keep the entire landscape and I wrote you a check for the entire amount back. That's how I launched my business. All right. So I made the offer no one else in my niche had the guts to make. Who am I competing with on that one? Nobody. So I said, listen, you want to deal with it? You just got done lecturing me all the things you don't like about contractors. I have a package. You don't have to choose it, but I have a package that addresses every single thing you want. By the way, who pays me on average $12,500 more for the exact same landscaping project? What buyer? What kind of buyer does that? Motivated. What else? What's important to them? Service. I'm going to follow through on my promise. And they probably have some sort of deadline. They have an event coming up. Something's got to happen by a certain time. How many of you guys work through the night to get your client whole because they told you there's an issue, but you don't charge more for it? All right, you want me to? I'll change my schedule. I used to tell them, I'll change my schedule around for you. I've got a package for that. It's $12,500. $12,500. I'm like, yeah. So I got to, when I'm done here, I got to go tell somebody that I'm not doing their stuff on a certain day, and I'm going to work till 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to work on the weekends. I'll get it done, but it's going to cost me more, so it costs you more. They got it. It outsold every other program 2-to-1, the guarantee program. Okay. All right. So take your top 5 complaints. All right. Now take a moment. You have your 5 complaints from yesterday. Yep. All right. Or you'll certainly write them down. You don't have to have them right this very second, but your top 5 complaints are going to go in here. Right below that, write down what are the services that you give to your customers that you really shouldn't have to, or you don't want to. And you give them away for free. Okay. So what are some free things you're doing for your customers that you wish you didn't have to do, or you really should you should be getting paid for? Write some of those down. You're not supposed to have to take the product back after a certain date, but you do because they're a good customer. You're not supposed to have to drive it all the way out there on a Sunday, but you do because it's a good customer. You're not supposed to have to sit in on their meeting so they can get their act together, but you do because they're a good customer. You're not supposed to have to give them free design or consultations, but you do because they're a good customer. You're not supposed to have to give free shipping, but you do. You get the point? Write those down. What are the services you should get paid for or wish you could that you're giving away right now? Okay, you got a good list? Okay, here's what I'm going to scare the bejesus out of you guys. All right, ready? If you can solve any one of those complaints, you have your bronze upsell. If you could solve, so not the services, but take your complaints from yesterday. If you can solve up to 3 of those complaints, that's your silver upsell. And then if you could solve 4 or 5 of the complaints, and then add the other services on that you want to get paid, that's your gold upsell. And you put your best guarantee on your gold package. Make sense? Let me give you an example. Imagine I'm in the marker business. Marker, okay? You could buy this marker for $1. Just buy it from me for $1. I'm happy to sell it to you for $1 all day long. Okay? Now, there's 2 parts to a marker. There's this part, marker part. There's the top part. Which one is more likely to get lost? The top. So the bronze upsell for $150, I will replace the top as many times as you lose it. Lose it, just let me know. I'll just send you one. I'll send it to you right away. That's the $150 version. And if you're a little bit clumsy, you lose stuff, or you don't always click it on, you might say, well, that might be worth it because I lose that a lot. All right. What happens with markers when you write? What happens to your hands, especially if you're lefty? They smudge. Our markers don't. We have a smudge-free guarantee. If this marker ever smudges on your hand, we'll replace it as many times as it smudge. That's $175. So marker, unlimited cap replacement, and the silver is the smudge. What's the other problem with markers after a while? They dry out. Our markers, we have a no dry out guarantee. $1 for the marker, $1.50 for the cap unlimited replacement. That's our silver. And then, that's our bronze. Our silver is the no smudge guarantee. For $2, unlimited. It'll never dry out. If it ever dries out, you send it back, and I'll replace it for as long as you are alive. Well, they can keep they keep all the ones. They don't have to send it back. So they get unlimited replacements if this were to dry out for as long as they live. But it's $2. Okay. Now that sounds crazy. Doesn't that sound like you're putting yourself at a lot of risk? Oh my God, what am I thinking? Let me ask you a question. If you had a good customer and they said, oh, Alan, I lost the cap. I'm so clumsy. What would you do? You'd give them one. If they called you up and they said, you know what? I love your markers, but they get all over my hands. Look, I even took a picture. What would you do? You'd replace it. And if they said, what's up with this marker? I love your markers, but they keep like drying out like crazy. What would you do? You'd give it to them anyway, right? So why not get paid for it? Why not make it an option? Because you're going to do it anyway. You're not going to piss off your clients and leave them feeling like totally out in the dark. If you legitimately tried to help them and they legitimately, let's set aside the people who are just trying to get over on you, right? If they legitimately wanted to be your customer, you would likely do all this stuff anyway. Problem is, you're not getting paid for it, right? We are now getting paid for it. And we're going to make ourselves an expert right away because remember, we're going to take our price and double it again. That's what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to give you the choice of how you're going to buy the marker. If I'm Mr. Clumsy, I'm buying that bronze upsell because I always lose the cap. I'm a lefty. I'm paying $175 because most markers, I can't shake anybody's hand when I'm done because I'm lefty and I end up looking like I lost a war playing paintball, right? And then but I'm a facilitator. I do this all the time. You're telling me I buy this 2 times once for the rest of my life? I could just send it back. You get me a free one? Absolutely. I'm in. So depending on how I would consume you, I'll pick my path. But you don't give me that path right now. You just sell me the markers. And if I lose the cap, I'm on my own. I got to go out and find another freaking cap, or I just got this freaking thing. Is this the one that smudges, or is this the one that dries out or not? Like, which one should I have in the bag? Or can you just take that away from me by letting me be a gold buyer and just know that this thing is good? I bought it once. I'm good forever. Right? Now, here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, that might put me at some risk or whatever. Here's what we have found over the 28 years of doing this. Number one, these are not your Groupon buyers. This is not Groupon. These are not people that are looking for the best price. What are they looking for? The best service. And all they want to know is if things don't work out, it's going to hurt you as much as it is them. You've solved my problem, Alan. I just want to know that my business operations are never going to shut down. And all I need to know is I've got the call Alan button. That's all I need is my call Alan button. I can just take this off my brain. He's part of my inner circle. He's my trusted advisor, and he guaranteed it. He must be good if he can guarantee that. How many of your MSP competitors are offering the no business interruption guarantee, do you think? Other than my clients? Couple that try, right? Very little. You're going to eliminate. You don't beat your competition here, folks. You eliminate your competitors. They don't have the guts to make this guarantee. Okay?
What about, I guess we're kind of in the solar business, but what if you sell a system and you price in the gold for the first year and then let them choose the other one?
You could. If it works in your business to offer that for a period of time, then work it in that way. Okay. But it's got to be real. I'll give you an example. Most of your guarantees currently suck. They're convenient to whom? To you. They're not convenient to the client. If I go to your hotel and I have a bad experience, if I go to your restaurant and I have a bad meal, what are you going to do for me? You're going to comp me, or you might give me a voucher for another meal or room where? At the same crappy place I just had a bad experience. I don't want that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to say to me, hey, Carl, you had a bad night in my hotel. I'm going to give you all your money back, and you pick the hotel of your choice, and I'll pick up a night there. That's a guarantee. Now I know that you're gonna make sure I have a good night. I don't want another night at some other place. I want a good night here. Now, statistically, you will be put in a position where you have to write a guarantee 1 in 20 times. That's what we have found. Now, these people don't want a refund. They want you to fix it. In that 1 out of 20 times, what we have found is you won't even be asked to write the whole refund. They'll work with you to get through to this solution because you're the best option anyway. They're not firing their best option. I'm a big U2 fan. I've been to every tour since 1983. They've put out a few clunkers as albums since then, right? But I still go back. It's not like, well, I'm listening to classical now. I'm like, guys, come on back to me. I'm a fan. I'm not going to stop listening to them because they had a bad album. I'm going to the next one. And I'm rooting for a better album next time, so I enjoy the concert better. I'm their fan. I don't want my money back, right? And by the way, even if you have to write the refund, the other 19 paid for it. We have tutoring companies that guarantee a 1-grade improvement. We have software companies that have anti-breach software, and they guarantee you will never be breached. How do you like that? We have a client that writes anti-hack software for a major bank. Bank pays them a $2 million a year premium for the insurance policy of you will never be hacked. How would you like to be a bank? How would you like to be the person who writes software for a bank? You see what I mean? You do it anyway. You guys already are doing 99% of this already anyway. Just get paid for it. You're just giving it up, and you think you're doing them a favor. You are not. Everything goes up in price. Remember I talked about this, the cell phones? The cell phones 10 years ago? If I told you you were going to spend $1,000 on a cell phone, you would have laughed me out of the room. And half of you can't wait for the iPhone XI coming. Oh yeah, I'm definitely in on that. You will absolutely upgrade the next iPhone that comes out. You absolutely will. And your phone works fine. You're not going to hang on to it to the bitter end. You're going to be like, I'm going to be online for that baby. Okay. So you want to, now your pricing, there has to be a big difference between bronze. Bronze and silver are going to be kind of close to each other, but gold is way out on the reservation, folks. It's got to be expensive. It's got to be obnoxious. Here's how you know you've priced it right, and here's how you know you're effective, okay? You are going to, while looking at somebody, not live chatting and not, looking at somebody's eyeballs, you're going to tell them what this costs, the gold. And you always lead with gold. You don't tell them bronze, then silver, then gold. You start with gold. Because if you are doing your marketing right, you're talking to people who really want your service. If you want their service, if they want your service, what that means is they are passionate about what you do. They really want you. So give them everything. If you wanted to learn how to golf, I'm not going to say, well, I could teach you the kind of okay golf swing or a medium golf swing or the right golf swing. Which one would you want? You'd want the right one. So start with gold always. Okay. So you always start with gold, and that's high. They're going to say, here's what they're going to say. They're going to say, ooh, okay, I thought it was going to be high, but I didn't realize it was going to be that high. However, I want to work with you. That's the response. Higher than I thought, but I want to work it out. Okay. Your first answer is terms and conditions. Do a payment plan, in-house financing, figure it out. You'll pay me later, blah, blah, blah. We'll figure out a way to make it work. You don't ever discount your pricing. ever discount your price. You just give a lower priced option. You're giving a menu. You start, let's say this is 1,000, right? And they're like, oh, I'd really like to do that 1,000. Can you do it for 900? Absolutely, but I'd have to take some features off. No, I want you to do the whole thing for 900. I'm sure you'd love for me to do that. And I'd love to give it to you, but that would not be fair to our other clients. It's 1,000. Everyone else is paying 1,000. Believe me, I give a 5-to-1 guarantee. So I'm like, listen, what is your downside? You're either going to make 5 times that number or you're getting all your money back. I've taken all the risk out. What is this going to, so people will say to me, here's another one that I learned that worked. They're going to say, what does it cost to work with you? Nothing. I don't ever pay you? Oh, no, you're going to pay me a shit ton of money, but it's not coming out of your pocket. I'm a growth advisor. I only get paid out of the growth. It's coming out of your customers. So here's the other one we did. You can say clever when I'm done. I'm not an expense. I'm a variable cost. I'm a cost of sale because it's coming out of your customer's pocket. This will never come out of your pocket. As a matter of fact, when we advise our clients, we put our line item up in cost of goods sold. So I'm not an expense. Your accountant, bookkeeper, sorry, you're an expense. IT guy, you're an expense. I'm not an expense. Sorry, but I reposition me and you got to reposition you. La, la, la. Okay? All right? I'm working on, all right? So I got myself into the variable cost column because guess what comes out of the owner's pocket in the variable cost column? Nothing. Guess what comes out of the owner's pocket in the expense column? Everything. I don't want to be in that column. I'm up there. And it's true because I will grow your business. I do a success fee or a retainer, but it comes out of the growth. I don't get anything for your current business. I get it all up here. So but again, we learned that one by being effective, by being in front of somebody. And then we put the efficient systems in, okay? So this has to be high. Now, the beauty of this is nobody has to buy it for it to be effective for you. People are either going to buy your gold or you're going to drive them to silver or bronze. Right, exactly. Right. Think about it. You say, listen, I know you want it. And I'm sorry. So Benny's point from earlier, you could sell them something there and then they can upsell themselves or, right? And they can upgrade themselves later, right? Well, let's start out at silver and bronze, see how we go. And we'll try your gold once we, get some success, whatever. You can you can work your way into that package, into that group or that club. Cool. Okay.
The other guys are done, so whatever.
Oh, they're done. Oh, I keep looking at the yellow. Am I in the red?
Well, you're not quite to the red. You get 2 minutes.
Oh, I have 2 minutes till I'm in the red. Okay, I was watching the red. I'm following my colors. All right, cool. So we got 2 minutes to go. All right. So that's one thing is you always start with gold. You always sell the gold package because think about it. You want to give your clients the best. You want clients that want your best. You lead with that. All right. Okay. Now, not everybody has to buy it, but you have to sell it to everybody. You don't start low and go high. You start high and you let them talk their way down. All right. So the first thing you do is you talk to them about gold. If they don't like the price, but they want to work it out, you work on the payment plan and the terms and conditions. How they pay, in what order, do we barter some, cash some, blah, 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 success fee. There's a lot of ways to do that. If they just can't figure it out any way, shape, or form, they can't get a loan, so there's no way to do it. That's when you expose them to silver. And if they can't work out silver, that's when you expose them to bronze. Does that make sense? All right. Work your way backward. This, you don't have to put the price on the bottom, but your gold offering, this goes on your website. Here are all the problems. Here's what we do. Ask us about this and list all the services. We solve all these complaints. We provide all these services, blah, blah, blah. And we guarantee you, ask us about that. Okay. You don't list bronze and silver in the beginning. You're not that you're now. If you're right on the website now, if you are a solopreneur, GoPro, and enterprise solution like software, if you're that kind of company, there are some ways that you can do that. All right. I'm thinking if you're more service oriented, which a lot of you are, then you're likely to start with gold, and then say we address all of these things. People will just be psyched that you address those things. Get them in the conversation, however you sell to them, whether it's an online video or phone or in person. Start with Gould, work your way down, find and craft the solution for them. But everybody needs to, Gould sells your brand quality. Okay? Remember I said you're in the restaurant business? This is your top shelf liquor. This is your Maine lobsters that get flown in every night. This is all that stuff, right? Okay. And then let them buy off the menu if they can't afford. You've all done it. Somebody, you say, oh, I want a martini. Oh, you want the $90 martini? No, not up there. Middle, I'll go Grey Goose. Let them buy. You walked into a car dealership, and what car do they put right in the middle of the showroom on a carpet behind ropes with lights on it? Most expensive one. You didn't buy that car, did you? But you were like, wow, I had no idea Subaru can build a $200,000 car. That's amazing, right? And then you saw that and you said, well, if you could build that, I'm now sold on Subaru. I'll buy off the lot, off of your menu. So car dealerships will tell you that car in the middle of the showroom, they only sell like 3 or 4 a year. But they want it because it's a lead generator. People come in and then they buy something off the lot. So everybody sees Gould, but then we go and we buy silver or bronze. I get to pick my path with you. I'm in control, which is what I want. Remember I said that yesterday? They want control. You now put me in control with your menu. Does that make sense? Okay. And it's got to be high enough that they're like, ooh, okay. Like in my head, I thought it was going to be 5,000, but 6,500. Okay, but I want to work it out. It's higher than I thought, but I want to work it out. That's when you know, if everyone's like, oh, 5,000, cool, let's go. You need to take it up a notch. If someone's like, oh my God, forget it, no way, then you're too high, right? Find that spot.
One thing we do when we sell a system, and we typically give them the 1-year labor warranty with it, that's like our goal. If they call us for a service call, we will send them an invoice and what it would really cost them, and then zero it out. That way they get an invoice from us and they say, oh, this is how much I saved on it.
Good messaging. I like that. Show them the value. You're showing them the value, not just what the elements are. That's really good. Okay. So you're showing them the ROI. Fantastic. Okay. So you guys have a second handout there, as you probably have seen. Same offer as yesterday. If you would like to take advantage of a free follow-up consultation, we've arranged for a free coaching session. Now, watch what I just did. I ate my own fertilizer here. We normally charge $1,500 for this, but if you attend one of our presentations, you can have it at no cost. So what did I just do? I put the value up high, and then then I did my free model, right? From yesterday, high priced, bundled, and then free. Okay. So I gave you my free option. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we'll, yes, here, there's one right. Is this an extra?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Is that yours?
Yes,
Is an extra one? Okay, there you go. So, okay, so, and then just leave the forms with me. I'll be here through lunch and for a little while after that. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to take your questions. And what I would suggest you do is turn to your neighbor, give them a high five and say, I've changed my mind. I do like you. All right. Guys, I hope that was valuable for you.